It was my birthday. 39. Not the kind you throw parties for, but enough to expect your husband and your best friend to at least pretend to care. Jason booked a client dinner. Lena sent a basic text. I didn't think much of it. Not until I saw the charge on our business card. An upscale boutique hotel, for blocks from the restaurant Jason claimed he'd be at. I called. Asked for him by name. The front desk transferred me to his suite. She answered. Not even smart enough to hide her voice. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I simply ended the call and wrote the time down in a notebook I hadn't touched in years. Then I opened our books. If betrayal hits harder when it's wearing a friend's face, like, share, and subscribe, because this story isn't just revenge. It's a professional execution with receipts. Jason and I ran a real estate firm, Pearson Hayes. Technically, his name came first. Practically, mine kept it afloat. I handled the numbers, structured the LLCs, built the shell companies we used to funnel investments during downturns. It wasn't illegal, until it was. He thought I didn't know about the offshore accounts. He thought Lena, my best friend since college, was just a distraction. They thought I'd fall apart. But I'd spent 10 years hiding our money, and now I was going to hide their future. You don't spend a decade laundering assets without creating your own trail. A ghost ledger, I called it. Not for law enforcement. Not for Jason. For me. In case of death, divorce, or what I now understood was betrayal of the worst kind. I hadn't updated it in months. But that night, after Lena's voice answered my husband's hotel phone, I reopened the file like a surgeon reopening an old wound. Each entity, every wire, every LLC had one thing in common. They all traced back to me. Not on paper, but in origin. I had built them. I knew where every dollar slept. But Jason had gotten bold recently. I noticed 2 new accounts. Cayman-based. Opened without my credentials. That was his mistake. He filed them through a shell that still triggered my backup notification. An automated copy of everything sent to my cloud archive. He was hiding money from me. In structures I taught him to use. And Lena? I searched her name through the ledger. She was now the registered manager of Goldbridge Holdings, a shell we created to hide capital gains during the 2020 dip. He'd reassigned ownership to her. She wasn't just a mistress. She was a shield. His fall girl. That's when I knew. I wasn't just going to leave them. I was going to hand them the fuse. And light it. I spent 4 days compiling everything. Forged contracts, unreported assets, emails between Lena and Jason planning investment redirections. Then I crafted the tip, complete with charts, timelines, anonymized documents. I sent it to the Office of Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. Untraceable. Unstoppable. Then I booked a flight under a different name. Silence is louder when it's deliberate. I didn't answer his calls. Not when Jason texted, "Where are you?" Not when Lena emailed, "Are you okay?" They were still in the phase where panic hadn't set in, just confusion. That's the sweet spot. When they're too arrogant to see the storm, but the wind's already changing. By the time I landed in Vancouver, the tip I sent was already climbing up the enforcement chain. My dossier was meticulous. Linked IPs, fake invoices, overlapping signatures, and account openings tied to a single passport photo. Lena's. I even fed them a theory. Jason had forged paperwork to make it look like she was operating a Ponzi structure through Goldbridge Holdings. All true. Just framed to fall at her feet. You see, men like Jason never think the mistress will be the exit wound. And women like Lena? They never believe the wife knows how to calculate offshore interest exposure. I stayed in a small hotel overlooking the harbor, sipping espresso, tracking the panic from afar. The moment it broke was beautiful. Jason's company account froze first. Then a notice from the SEC requesting a preliminary interview, directed not to him, but to Lena, as managing partner of the new entity he created. Lena tried to contact me again. Her last message. Please. Just tell me what's going on. Jason said this was your idea. I didn't reply. I simply watched their world contract while mine expanded. Jason tried to lawyer up fast. Too late. The federal investigation was underway. And with Lena's name on every new document, she'd be the first through the door when they came knocking. It began with a press release. One paragraph buried in the Financial Crimes Bulletin. Federal investigation launched into Goldbridge Holdings and associated shell entities suspected of fraud, tax evasion, and illicit wire transfers. No names yet. But I recognized every syllable. I wrote most of it, after all. 2 days later, Lena's mugshot surfaced. Pale, hollow-eyed, holding a sign that would trail her name in every search result for the rest of her life. She'd been arrested for obstruction. She tried to delete emails after the subpoena hit. Jason didn't bail her out. He couldn't. Because that same morning, agents knocked on his door. They didn't cuff him yet. Just questioned. But the message was clear. We're watching you too. He still didn't know it was me. That's what made it exquisite. I watched it all from a quiet flat in Portugal. New ID, new bank accounts. Every withdrawal plan 6 months earlier when I sensed something wasn't right. My own offshore fund, legally built, clean, anonymous, funded my fresh start. But I wasn't done yet. I left a final envelope with my lawyer, triggered by Lena's arrest. It contained notarized documents detailing how Jason had manipulated her into managing the company, forged papers, and withheld financial information. The defense team leaked it. Publicly, it painted Lena as a pawn. Privately, it cornered Jason. He tried to spin it, claimed he was framed, that Lena acted on her own. But the evidence didn't care about ego. Especially not when most of it was tied to IP addresses in his name, on devices I used to set up his two-factor security. The feds built their case faster than I expected. The last time I saw Jason was in a live stream, blurred courtroom footage, his suit rumpled, jaw clenched as the prosecutor outlined the charges. Fraud, money laundering, conspiracy, wire fraud. The judge denied his request for travel clearance. He wasn't going anywhere. Not now. Not for a long time. Lena wasn't in the courtroom. She was still negotiating a plea deal. Her lawyer trying to spin her as unknowingly complicit. A woman led astray by a manipulative partner. Funny how quickly best friends become victims when the paper trail leads straight to them. My name was never mentioned. I didn't need it to be. Because revenge wasn't about recognition. It was about peace. And watching them sink, separately, bitterly, in matching legal hell, was peace. I live differently now. Smaller. Sharper. I run a consultancy for women exiting high-conflict relationships. Under a different name, of course. I teach them how to build safeguards. Financial self-defense. I teach them what I learned the hard way. Trust is a transaction. Betrayal is a receipt. And silence? Silence is a weapon. One I wielded perfectly. Thank you for watching this story of betrayal and cold justice. Like, share, and subscribe for more true life-inspired takedowns. Somewhere, someone's best friend just crossed the line. And a storm is already being written in silence.